kidding me?
And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for hanging out while we were dealing with Joe Tillman's technical issues. I like to put the blame on him where it's appropriate and when it's appropriate. But
is it ever really appropriate? I mean,
it is, because you blame me all the time.
For your own problems.
You blame me all the time.
Hey, life blames you, my friend.
That's the sad truth. Listen, we were live. We're sorry that we missed last week. Decided to take a couple of days off.
I'm not sorry. Why are we sorry?
Well, I needed the break. We had a lot of work to do, a lot of interesting things happening in the industry, and frankly, Joe and I have been pushing out a tremendous amount of content. I've been editing a tremendous amount of content. I have been politicking. I have been posting our message so that we can have a much better and more productive 2019, and hopefully save this fucking field from its implosion, and in turn, save the lives of, and I literally mean save the lives of countless vulnerable hair loss sufferers who are being ripped off, disfigured. Now PRP it's insane what I'm seeing and how it's being promoted via Facebook, Instagram, all over the internet. Every billboard, placard, every bus stop, here in Los Angeles. It used to just be realtors on bus stops. Now I'm seeing ads for PRP and hair transplant surgery.
It's just, it's like, I don't want to laugh, but I can't help it.
That's the reality.
And what you're saying is, I think I told you about this before. I was at a party a few weeks ago, and everyone goes in their little groups, has their discussions, and one of my buddies comes over and says, "Hey man, there's this guy over here talking about this new hair treatment." And he knows what I do. He's like, "Why don't you come over and get involved? I want you to hear this." So I'll walk over, and the guy's talking about this exciting new treatment that he wants to offer in his dental practice, PRP.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm like, excuse me, you're a dentist and you want to do hair loss treatments? Oh yeah, I can charge like a couple grand, and it's really effective. And I was like, okay, it's like, what kind of conversation? What am I going to do?
That is the reality of what's going on. Actually, I had a very well-known, let's say, entertainment entrepreneur here in studio last week, and he freely talks about his anti-aging regime, and part of that is he uses Botox like in his forehead. He asked me if I used any, and I said not yet. I'm freaked out about all that shit, but I definitely think there's a time and a place for it. And he looks fabulous. But he told me that he gets it done at his dentist's office. That's what's happening. That's it. This is the new normal of the cosmetic sphere. When I speak about it online, when I speak about it in our industry chat groups and private message forums and WhatsApp groups, it's as though, a lot of it is kind of ignored for whatever reason. They want to stick their heads in the fucking sand. One of our IHS members, Mark Dower, posted an image of what I talk about all the time. I actually posted this image before. I guess I cleaned up the graffiti of a huge billboard type pane glass window advertisement for NeoGraft, basically saying scarless, no stitches, this and that. It's being performed by a top-rated, some magazine top-rated dermatologist, as though that means shit. Now, he made the post. He didn't follow through with what I was saying, But I mean, there is, I'm glad that at least you got involved to that degree, but there's just so much apathy in the field, and people are just essentially choosing sides as opposed to taking action. And there's the group that just wants to bury their head in the sand, and then there's a group that wants to blame everybody else for their problems. That includes, they want to blame the technicians, they want to blame the unlicensed practice of medicine, they want to blame the device makers, they want to blame the marketing and the media for picking up these device makers. They have no one to blame but themselves. They control this entire market. And frankly, unless something is done, my hope is that in 2019, that some people, some of the so-called leaders in this field, will finally see the light. Because every decision that they are making, every misstep that they are making, every poor choice that they are making is having a direct impact on the lives of every patient that walks through the doors of one of these turnkey facilities. You control it all. And the fact that they don't fully comprehend that, it is mind-boggling to me. Now, there are people out there who say, well, we don't control it all because, these companies are going to go out there and they're going to promote what they're going to promote. No, they're not. They're going to work within the standard of care that is projected to the consumer. And if they do not, they will fail. Doesn't mean they won't exist. It's not as though we don't want them to exist. If they have a good device, great. Let them train their customers. Make sure that whoever's performing surgery is actually licensed. Make sure they know what the fuck they're doing. And companies will have to work within the parameters and the standards that are set by this field. They cannot set the standard. Right now, you're allowing this agenda of crisis to kind of, set the stage for all these vulnerable consumers and your practices.
I think that the entire field, everyone that's so concerned about the industry is in the minority now, as far as the number of people performing or the number of clinics and people performing the procedure. Anyone that's concerned about where this industry is going is in the small minority. I'm almost finished editing Hair Transplant class number 17, and it is partially about this exact issue, not directly, but it talks about what is part of the issue, and it's I break down the 4 different types of FUE. There's manual, motorized, automated, and robotic. And with the automated systems, that's where that's the majority of the type of clinics that are opening nowadays. And the way that these clinics are seeing hair restoration, it is simply as another menu item to add to their list of offerings. Right. On top of the Botox and the boob jobs and the butt lifts and things like this. And I have in my video a clip of a presentation that one plastic surgeon was giving as to the benefits of a such and such graft system in her practice. And she's specifically talking about the benefits of this procedure or this device, allowing her to conduct consultations with patients for other procedures while a team of quote-unquote expert technicians are flown in from another city to occupy her OR, generating revenue. Those are her exact words. Generating revenue while I'm conducting consultations with patients for other procedures. That's it. There's no specialization. There's not even an ounce of giving a shit about the quality of the work and about the safety of the patient.
Now, it's all about generating revenue. Now, just to be completely fair, I cannot blame this particular plastic surgeon.
Oh, of course not.
For what she believes to be the standard of care. Because that is what was sold to her. That is what was sold to her by the device companies, and that was what essentially was sold to her by the industry at large. They won't admit it. They won't admit that this is the reality of what they set up. They threw up the lob. And these guys are they're fucking smashing it, man.
They really are. I mean, look, I got to hand it to them. They saw an opportunity, they took it and ran with it, and now they're winning. And I mean, it's sad on some levels, but on other levels, it's like, congratulations, good for you.
Well, here's the thing: you cannot blame the product manufacturers. They also do not necessarily know. Listen,
no,
there's something called, I think it's called willful blindness, and that is essentially, in my view, a great description for what the hair transplant field is all about.
I prefer ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, it's willful, and in the law, willful blindness is actually an actionable offense. And I'm in communications with some people in the field who considering collaborating with the IHRS, and some of their concerns are being liable for certain things that they will never be liable for. But what they can be liable for is willful blindness. And the fact that no one's actually ever taken them to task is because most people are stupid. They don't realize that they can. Did you lose me? Joe? Nothing.
You're coming back.
Can you hear me?
Now you're back. Do you have audio compression on your Skype?
Must be Skype. Let's see.
Or let Skype manage your audio?
I don't think so. But it did reboot.
You just disappeared again.
Hold on. It did reboot again. But it still shouldn't disappear.
Nothing.
Hold on. Guys, hold on. Sorry. Fucking Joe keeps having technical issues. Let's see if we can fix this. Joe, can you hear me?
Give me a check.
Check one, check one, check one.
Nope.
All right, I'm hanging up with Joe. Check one. Check, check, check.
Still nothing. Everything's good on my end.
You sure? Because I can hear you perfectly.
I hear nothing.
Not a thing. You don't hear anything.
I see your lips moving. Just double check my settings. Hold on.
Guys, sorry, man. We're having technical problems. While Joe finishes, checks his settings, I lost my train of thought. So we're going to have to start from the top.
It works on my end. For me.
Fuck. Hold on, guys.
It was similar to the previous times that this would happen, where you would slowly fade out.
Yeah.
Be gone for a bit, and then you would slowly fade back in.
All right, let's see what we can do. Hold on. 1 second, Joe. 1 second, guys. Hold on. Thanks for your patience.
Apparently, I'm taking over while Spencer is... This is so bizarre because I can't hear anything in my ears. Of course, where else would I hear them? Anyway, let's see. I gotta get my page set up. I don't remember what the hell we're talking about. So the direction of this industry, that's the thing that we're concerned about. And, the last thing that Spencer said, I believe he was talking about how, willful ignorance. And I think I know where he's going with this. And it has to do with how, there may be an understanding that there are other ways to do what they're doing, these manufacturers, but they don't fully understand the ramifications of what they're doing and how it affects the industry. I mean, the way that this industry is transitioning, it's gone from, the way I look at it, a specialized industry where you've got many clinics that are specialized in doing only hair, and they may have a couple of smaller other adjunct procedures that they offer. But now you have clinics that have a complete laundry list of items that you can, procedures that you can have, such as hair transplantation, liposuction, any other sort of cosmetic surgery that you can imagine.
Check.
There we go. There's some sound.
Got it?
I got it. Sounds great.
That's so weird, man. I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything?
Nope.
But you started doing a check, so, oh well.
Well, there you go.
Okay. There we go. All right.
All right. So actually, no, I was listening to what you're saying, Joe, and I know that the path you're going, but what I'm talking about, willful blindness, is really on the side of the industry. The industry knows exactly what's going on. The industry knows essentially what's happening with their peers. It's a nod and a wink. People actually have names of awards named after him, and some of these guys have done more damage to this field than anybody else, and they continue to. They get slapped on the back, and they get, they're all part of the old boys club. And the reality is, physicians who have a fiduciary responsibility to actually speak up are not. And also, as far as the organization, you cannot knowingly turn your back and plead ignorance of the law.
Completely.
Because you're liable. So if someone actually wanted to come after a certain, whatever the organization is, a class action lawsuit, or, which I would never do, that would be dumb, but, or just a patient who is concerned about something, they are completely open to liability. And that's the difference with what we do on this program and what I do with the IHS. We let people know, listen, you always have a chance of getting fucked up. Period. No matter who you go to. This is the reality. These doctors who are part of the IHS are focusing on this side of hair restoration surgery or hair transplant surgery. These doctors, not so much. These are the older guys who may be utilizing certain pieces of equipment that in their hands we believe is good, but we don't necessarily endorse all these different devices. These are things that other groups and organizations are afraid to say because A, they're afraid they're going to lose sponsorship. They're afraid they're going to lose members. They're afraid they're going to lose membership dues. And they'd rather kind of keep things all, close-knit. That is a bad strategy. Now, with that said, to be concerned about liability as far as telling the truth, that's not what you should be concerned about. It's the other way around. That was my point.
Well, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Guys, the phone lines are open, 888-659-3727. Yeah, someone's asking about your subscribers. I do know, I did hear that YouTube did do a complete spam eradication type of thing. So the fact that you maintain so many is pretty amazing, actually.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Yeah.
Well, I can complain, but I could complain more.
Yeah. And it doesn't make a fucking difference anyway.
No, it doesn't.
But guys, call in. We are live. And look, we do this program for you so that you guys can get some information. If you have questions or concerns. A person actually wrote the Bald Truth yesterday. I was alerted to the fact that my staff said that he should call the show. Apparently, he has a hair transplant next week with a clinic that I've never even heard of. And we said, okay, you have the opportunity to speak with us directly. Call the program. I hope that he chooses to call because I personally do not have time to write people back when we receive thousands of emails every week. Now, I'm glad that I have a very good staff who takes a look at certain things and will highlight certain things, especially if someone says, I'm having surgery tomorrow. Shit like that.
Yeah, those are the important ones.
Yeah, and if we're on the air, and we are usually twice a week, and I've never had the surgery tomorrow thing, but it's usually like in a week or two. Tell them to call the program. That's the thing. We are here to provide you with the information. We can look up your clinic right away online. We can give you our advice. From what I saw, I didn't even know, who this guy was talking about. He said that there were some great reviews online, and he had a good overall experience during his consultation. Does not mean that this is a clinic you shouldn't go to. But in most cases, if we haven't heard of them, it's not a good sign.
Good reviews in today's age mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I am not a fan of reviews. I'm not a fan of like Google reviews. I'm a huge critic of Yelp reviews, and then these review sites that are set up for the sake of reviewing. I'm not talking about forums. I'm talking about there's some sites that were started. They seem to be really powerful in Europe.
Yeah.
Everyone's referencing them. Kind of like a real self, but not a real self.
Yeah.
And top, kind of like a top doc thing, like one of the most discussed clinics on such and such. I can't remember the names of them, but those are, in the way I look at it, they are completely bought and paid for.
Well, I can tell you that they are. Well, I don't know everyone, but I was offered my forum company came to me. They wanted to turn into a hair transplant review site. They offered me 7 figures for the forum. I think I told you this about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, who's the idiot that didn't take the money? Me.
Yeah.
But
figures, yeah.
I mean, it was a low 7. I mean, it was under $2 million, but still, it was 7 figures for a fucking message forum. It's a capital asset of my company. Just would have had to pay capital gains on that. Would have been able to keep most of the money. And no one would have even noticed.
Was there even any sort of discussion, or you just give them a flat out no?
Well, yeah, no, there was definitely discussion. I'm going to fucking discuss that, of course. But the way that they described it was going to be kind of cultivated, and they wanted to continue to work with, the blessing of the IHRS, and they were going to develop just a complete review site because we have the legs. And It's not a bad idea. Listen, if I ever need the money someday, maybe I'll give them a call. I don't know. But right now, it wouldn't be good for the industry, obviously. It's not smart business. But what it does do for me is it really gives me even more insight. Look, I was given the Michelangelo Award back in 1999. I'm not a fucking doctor. I had to tell the Italian Society of Hair Restoration Surgery that I'm not a doctor. They apologized. I was offered.
They apologized.
Yeah, I was offered top doc or type of top doc status, by different top doc, and we use top doc generically. May not be top doc. Top doc companies where you see these guys that are putting their plaques online that they're the top, doctor in Los Angeles or rated number 1 in Los Angeles magazine, rated this and that. Well, I was put in line, nominated by my peers, apparently, by 2 different top doc organizations in 2 categories. One was in hair transplant surgery and one was in plastic surgery, not even cosmetic surgery.
I am waiting for my nomination, and I'm telling you, I will ride that as far as I can.
Well, you know what? I am so overly concerned that someone's going to think that I'm somehow trying to commit some sort of fraudulent act that I wouldn't go there. So I have to just let them know, look, you made a mistake. But I have the emails, and listen, I was invited as a physician, and I'm not going to name the name of the company and the website because they're so well known, and I do partner with them in a sense. But I was invited by this company to sit as a partner physician at an awards ceremony, and I had to be like, listen, again, I'll be glad to go, but I'm not a doctor.
I would play that up to I'd walk in dressed to the nines and walking past everyone.
I could wear like a sash like the guys at the ISHS.
Sticking my hand out saying, doctor, doctor, doctor,
doctor.
Doctor, doctor.
It's funny. I do exaggerate. It's not like the ISHS president. They don't wear a sash. But I just think it's funny to say they're wearing a sash. But they have these things, these ribbons.
I'd prefer you said a fez.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if you go into the exhibit hall of any of these conferences.
Yeah.
But when I went to this conference this year, I'm just like, all I needed to see was a guy on stilts and a fucking juggler. That's it. Maybe an elephant walking across the back of the room.
We love you guys.
Because it was something. It was a sight to fucking see.
Oh, there goes your sound again. Damn it.
I don't know what that is, man. It's got to be Skype.
Good night.
It's got to be Skype. I may be having trouble with Skype.
You can hear buzzing. Give me a check.
Check one, check one, check two, check two.
That time I got nothing.
Check one, check one, check two, check two, check one, check one.
Yeah, Skype. Must be if you're not changing settings and it comes back.
I'm not changing anything. But my connections are, the video is perfect. All right, guys, look.
I know not what to do.
Guys, look, help us out. Call us at 888-659-3727. Otherwise, we're done with the live show. Oh, and by the way, since Joe can't hear me, I want to give a shout out to hairlossexperiences.com for also airing this broadcast twice a week on their message forum. Hair Loss Experiences is a UK-based forum. Great place to get information. And there's a couple of other forums, but I don't have the names of them in front of me. And Joe,
I got you. You're back.
Joe can't help me.
I heard you say something about a forum, so I assume you're talking about hair loss experiences.
I just gave them their plug, and I was saying that I don't know the names of the other forums that are airing the program.
You're very low right now, but I will tell you, there are two other forums. There's bellycapelli.forumfree.it, primarily an Italian language website, but because of modern day browsers, it's always translated into your language of choice. Fantastic resource. Busy, active, guy that runs it, repair patient just like yours truly, and he's a great guy. And then there is international-hairlossforum.com. Didn't even have to look at it this time. French-based, again, browsers, translation, language of choice, great resource. A lot of great results on all of these forums. Hair loss experiences, bellycapelli.forumfree.it, international-hairlossforum.com, doctor interaction, patient interaction. All three are great resources. If you haven't registered for them, please do. Go on there, say hi, and say thank you for supporting this broadcast. It's important that you do because we need to share the love, as they do.
Absolutely. So, and to Scott Davis, $2 million, why are you lying? It was less than $2 million that I was offered for the website.
You ain't lying.
So, I ain't lying.
You ain't lying.
If anyone actually understood the level of money that is made in this industry, they would understand that's even low for what we do.
Hell of a lot.
Yeah, but
I mean, I would have sold, but that's just me.
Well, yeah, I understand. I understand that, and look, all I can say is, can you hear me? By the way, Joe,
I can hear you now. Yes.
All right. I don't know what's going on. Look, all I can say is this. You guys are in fucking trouble. Anyone who's watching this program, who's lucky enough to find this show, they can avoid this trouble. But in general, the industry is in trouble. And for all the physicians who are listening out there who actually care about the specialty of hair transplant surgery and who care about their practices, you are in grave danger. You will not exist, or you're going to exist in a very different way than you do right now. It's funny that Joe brought up medi-spas, that all these turnkey guys are going to medi-spas. What's happening, what I'm seeing now is that hair transplant surgeons, real hair transplant surgeons, are now moving into the medi-spa arena.
I was thinking about that when I was talking about it. It popped in my head. And
I was going to write an article about medi-spas, and essentially the title would be Medi-spas, where hair transplant surgeons go to die. Because that is the reality.
Where medical dignity goes to die.
Yeah, it is the fucking reality. I saw a guy who is now selling specials on some sort of skincare product that he's pimping. That at one point, all he did was hair transplant surgery. And now I see his stuff online, and is a fucking embarrassment. I know we all got to hustle and make a living. I get it. Totally get it. But this doctor could have made different choices, different decisions, gone in a different direction. I promise you, he'd be doing a lot better now than trying to sell products on the internet that will not, I mean, we're not talking about huge margins here.
Oh, you sent me, that's right. This is something that probably costs $30.
Yes.
Maybe 50 if he's feeling good about himself.
And this is the ad. Stocking stuffer alert. Because who doesn't want the gift of great skin? Come and see Tara to get your skin glowing.
He's not even a dermatologist.
No, he is not. But the guy has injectors, and he has people who are doing stuff for him. And this is the direction he decided to go into. And I have to tell you, in my view, it is just it's just an example of how this field has been cheapened. And guys, we'll take your call in a second.
I got to interrupt you on that one though, because it's in his particular case, it's not because that's where the industry is growing. It's because he's bad at what he does. He's an asshole, and he doesn't know better than to make stupid decisions like this in the first place. He's feeling a pinch because his attitude's coming back to bite him in the ass.
Well, why don't you tell us how you feel, dude?
So this is a karma issue as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's certainly nice packaging. I can tell you that. But here's the thing.
It's pretty.
I was talking about this, and guys, hold on. I promise I'll take your call. I was talking about this online the other day or yesterday, and essentially, one doctor said that there's a plastic surgeon that contacted me. He invited me to a holiday party, and I get invited to a lot of these parties here by a lot of the guys in the area. Really nice guy. One of these red carpet events, which frankly I don't understand either, because guys, you're fucking doctors. You're doctors. We're not. I mean, I know that we're in Hollywood, but we're not Hollywood. So anyway,
everyone's Hollywood in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's if I have to go to a party where I have to walk down the step and repeat and have a picture taken of me with my date, I'm going to do the perp walk. I just put my jacket over my head. I do not.
I'm pulling the Cohen walk of shame.
Yeah. Jesus, this whole industry. So anyway, I asked him. He ended up getting a turnkey device. And I asked him how his hair side of the practice was going, because we are friends. And while we don't work together, because he just didn't have enough time on tissue, I think that this is a guy that really cares, and I think that we could work together eventually. He actually said, hair side is slow, too many people doing it. This is a board-certified plastic surgeon. This is proof positive that, how oversaturated the market is. But also, in my view, I mean, to me, an oversaturated market just creates opportunity for people who are smart and good at what they do, and allows the cream to rise to the top. Unfortunately, the cream is somehow in this industry sinking to the bottom, and it's a race to the bottom. They are racing as fast as they can to meet the bottom. And in turn, they're destroying the lives of many, many, many patients, whether they're doing it by their own hand or just allowing it to be done by essentially being silent and kind of trying to work within the parameters of what these novices and device makers set.
Yeah.
Let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Bet you it's Nico.
Hey, gentlemen. This is Dave from Brooklyn.
Dave from Brooklyn. How are you, man?
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. What's going on? Happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you.
I guess that covers all the holidays.
We can say Merry Christmas on this show.
It's funny. I was thinking about this today. It was weird. I was thinking about how, I try to consider myself a pretty good researcher. I consider myself a kind of guy who does, conducts objective, proper research before I would do something as extremely dire as surgery. And I cannot believe how naive I was about this business. It's like, and I realize now that people don't want to know. It's like they don't want to know how bad it is. They, like you always say, Spencer, they just want to be fixed.
Right.
And I think with doctors, I think they have two choices. You're either going to do it for passion or you're going to do it for profit. You're in one camp. And those who are doing it for profit are actually, they're part of the problem. They're not part of the solution. So I just want to thank you guys for doing, fighting the good fight and for, informing everybody where the quality is, not the discounts.
I appreciate you saying that, but I just want to say one thing, add one thing to that. There are those who are passionate about this who can make a tremendous profit if they are passionate enough to create an environment where they're truly informing patients, where they're churning out great results, where those results can then be pimped out online everywhere else where they should be. These guys are clear winners in the field. I'm telling you, if the cream really decided to stick to their guns and band together in the right way, then patients would have a much better chance. And these guys would end up making a lion's share of the profits in this industry.
And I think, Dave, what you're saying is, first off, well done on the self-awareness issue, because to say what you said, I was listening to what you're saying. It's just like, wow, he's woke, as some of our friends like to say. He's woke, and that's awesome. I mean, what you said it's spot on. How some patients just don't want to know the truth; they just want to be fixed. And same thing with the doctors. And what you're talking about with the passion versus profit, I was thinking exactly what Spencer was saying, is that the passion brings the profit, right? Yeah. It's like I've been, like, ever since I was in my late teens, I've been in sales of some form or another almost consistently, except for a few years when I was in medicine, and in school. But you can't succeed in something unless you believe in it as far as sales go. I mean, I've always been that way. It's like I can't profit in something unless I believe in what I'm doing and I have a passion with it. When I got into hair, it's like, I could have gone down the route of commission to where I'm making something on every surgery, just like the doctors do. And I could have made a hell of a lot more money than I did, because I do have a passion on this. But I didn't want that to actually, influence how I'm dealing with patients. So I was always salaried as far as, anything I was involved in where I'm dealing with patients. And it was the passion that kept me going. And it was the passion that allowed me to expand my position in the industry to where I am now. It's only because I'm passionate about this. It's not, look, if I want to just do something to make money, it sure as hell wouldn't be this industry. That's all there is to it. Because there are other things that I could be doing that are a lot easier to deal with. In this industry, it is a huge pain in the ass dealing with most of the people that are involved in this field.
Well, life is telling the truth and being honest and speaking up makes life very much more complex than it needs to be. Yeah. And when some of the politicians talk to me about why I do the things that I do, and what do you think? It's just for the fucking fun of it? Going out there and telling the truth, naming names, putting people's feet to the fire, you make a lot of enemies. And especially when you're doing it face forward with your name out there in the online world, you put yourself at tremendous risk. Now you have to just deal with that and say, you know what? I don't give a shit about what people say about me.
And there's really no one else that does this. There's no one out there that has their real name, full face, on a regular basis, talking about these kinds of issues that are affecting patients negatively, and being ballsy enough to, like you said, name names and, fight the real fight. And I think, that obviously has something to do with our success, but it also has a lot to do with how it's only the passion that's carrying us through this. It's not the fun factor, because it's rare that it's fun. But the passion is there. It's almost like the fight itself becomes part of the passion, and even stokes the passion a bit, because
it's constant bullshit. We deal with constant bullshit, even bullshit from people who we think we shouldn't be getting bullshit. Well, it shocks me, the bullshit that we get.
Yeah.
Of course,
So Dave, what you were saying is that about not having any clue about how bad this industry is. You still don't, but the level of exposure you've had. No, I'm serious. I mean, I say that because from our perspective, you've scratched the surface, and for most people, that's the awareness that you've gained about this is above and beyond what the majority of people actually come to as far as their own realization, their own awareness about what they're considering and what they're getting involved in. But it goes, trust me, the well is so much deeper.
Well, I think Dr. Ken Anderson from Atlanta was very honest when he was in the studio, and he said, "Look, bro," as he says, there's
look, bro.
Yeah,
hey, bro.
There really is no across-the-board standard of care in this field. People can choose to do it any which way they want to do it.
Absolutely.
And everyone is essentially saying that the way they do it is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
In many cases, the way they do it is the easiest way to do it, or the least expensive way to do it, or the fastest way to do it, or you pick. But there is no standard, and frankly, it is one of the few specialties where there is absolutely zero standards set. So at least, when I founded the IHRS, there were some minimal standards that were required. It's more difficult now with FUE, but we are starting to create more standards, and if those people do not comply with those standards, they will not be with the IHRS. And the educational organizations, the main organizations, are afraid to set these standards. Why? I don't know, because if people want to do be a part of this industry and perform surgery, they are going to have to comply with the minimal standard of care. Otherwise, they're going to have to figure out how to do something else. These large organizations are not going to lose membership. What's going to happen is people are going to comply. And I'll give you a brief story. A guy by the name of Dr. Alan Feller, almost 20 years ago, his physician applied, the late, great Dr. Seeger, to the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. And one of our requirements is to have at least 2 physicians that the applicant performs surgery on contact me directly. Dr. Alan Feller contacted me on behalf of Dr. Seeger's application. And when Dr. Feller started to ask me what this was about, blah, 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 he said, nothing but great things to say about Dr. Seeger, I told him. And essentially back then, physicians needed to have the infrastructure to do follicular unit transplantation using microscopic dissection, meaning they need microscopes and enough technicians to be able to utilize those microscopes. And I've said this on the air, so Dr. Feller will not make, this was something that he came out and talked about on the radio himself. He told me at the time, microscopes are all hype. It's just a gimmick. You don't need microscopes to do hair transplants. I'm like, well, look, that's cool. This is just the way that we run the organization. A couple of weeks later, he calls me up and he says, I'm the converted. Can I come on the radio show and talk about why I decided to incorporate microscopes into my practice? Now, the bottom line is, I'm not saying that Dr. Feller didn't do that out of, that he was being genuine when he decided to do that. But we set a standard. And if those who wanted to practice and be a part of what we did, they had to meet that standard. The large organizations can do the same thing. And hopefully this year we can make that happen.
Right. And Joe, with Erdogan, with the microscopes, he too was not using it until relatively recently, right?
Yeah, he
finally jumped on board.
If I remember correctly, he brought one into his clinic around February to play with it, experiment with it. And then I spoke to him, I think, a couple months after that. And he told me that he was ordering a whole, a set of them because he was seeing the benefits. Now, and that's great. I just, it's not something that it's immediately going to make a change. He's having to work that into his protocol, and his technicians are having to learn how to use them. It's not intuitive. It's not like you just suddenly, oh, I can see better. I know what to do. They're little things that have to be learned, comfort level, details and protocols, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I mean, that's I was surprised to hear that. I'm surprised when he told me that, but pleased. I mean, I think that's, anyone that's embracing technologies, even when it's considered to be old technologies, when they realize that just because it's old doesn't mean that it's bad, then that's a level of awareness that is necessary to have for this industry to, move forward. I mean, it's funny, it's ironic. I mean, taking what's considered to be older technology or older systems and using them to propel the newer protocols forward. To me, it's common sense. But if you're not already experienced in that with that mindset, then it doesn't really click until it clicks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank both of you guys for doing what you do. And for the guys listening, hello, you got that like button? Can you guys press that? We got 28 people out here. So
appreciate
thanks
the support.
again, gentlemen.
Thank you, man. Always
Have a
appreciate
wonderful
the support.
weekend.
Happy holidays.
Take
Merry
care,
Christmas, man. Take care.
Yeah, thanks for calling, buddy.
Take care.
Bye.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. The UK line is, where is the UK line? 0203-3724-683. And I'll put that on the screen for a second, if I can. How come I can't do that? Let's see. There you go. 0203-3764-683. UK callers, feel free to call in. Just started doing some promotion for the big FUE Europe conference in June. They got their artwork together, which looks great.
Yeah, it does.
And already getting a lot of response from people who are contacting me directly, want to attend the meeting. They want to, they're really interested in the consumer-centric aspect of what we're doing and what FUE Europe is doing. It will be, in my view, it's not just because I'm involved in it, and just so you know, I'm not making a dime from this meeting. It's probably going to end up costing me money because of the cost of having to do this stream and to do all the VOD, even though we're getting some underwriting for it, and get people over to Manchester from New York and LA, and to bring a team to make this right.
It ain't cheap.
It ain't cheap. So I am not doing this for the money. I am doing it, which
for the passion.
Yeah, for the passion. I'm doing it because it needs to be done, and it's never been done before. Just the way that it is. FUE is a dominant procedure in this field. It's growing exponentially every day. There needs to be focus on really learning how to do it well. It cannot just be an aside or part of a bigger picture of the conference. I believe that strips should still be taught, and there should be discussions and, all types of talks about complications and what people are seeing and what they're doing and their practices, blah, blah, blah. I personally think there needs to be more real fellowships, and we're going to be working on that this year as well. But, meaning people actually are going to be training to do this. They're not just going to go to a conference and see some people's PowerPoint presentations and then go at it. Or they're not just going to visit a doctor's office. I'm talking about staying in a practice for a month or a month and a half, having time on tissue, really being trained, a real fellowship program. Does not fucking exist.
Until now.
Anyway, 0203-3724-683. But with that said, the meeting is very exciting. We're getting a lot of mainstream interest for underwriters, which has never been done before in the hair transplant field. Yeah, you see a lot of the same faces. You see the product manufacturers. That's great. You see the device manufacturers. That's great. You see the guys who are making the instruments. Terrific. There was a while where some of the pharmaceutical companies were involved, but I think that's dying out. That's fine. But it was all essentially hair-related, directly hair-related stuff. That's going to change. We're working on some blue-chip sponsorship, some kind of crossover to the real world so that there's a better understanding about what we do, that hair loss is a situation and a concern and a disease of the spirit that affects 2/3 of men by the age of 35 and 40% of women, the largest demographic of all humankind, who happen to buy products and services like soft drinks.
It's an untapped demographic.
Yeah,
as far as mainstream media goes.
They use credit cards. They drive cars. Like,
yes, they do.
How are they not connected to this? I never fucking understood it.
You know, at every conference I've been to, I mean, that's part of what I'm looking forward to seeing in this conference is walking in and it not looking like a hair restoration conference. Because every hair restoration conference I've been to, it's like you walk into the vendor section and, you know, there could be 100 vendors there and maybe 2 vendors that anyone outside of the conference has ever heard of before.
Right.
It's so hyper-focused on, you know, device manufacturers, tool manufacturers. Yeah, all this stuff that, like, if you went up and you said, you said to someone, hey, have you heard of the such and such instruments company? They'd be like, what do they make? Doorbells?
Right.
There's no brand correlation to a product, right? But this time, walk in, it's going to be like, how could you not hear about these sponsors?
Right.
How could you not know who these people are? And that's exciting to me because it's going to be like, for me, it's going to be more like a car show or something because they have sponsors that people have heard of.
And that's the point. You know, we want underwriters and sponsors that not only people have heard of, but that would really legitimize this incredibly nuanced, this really important form of cosmetic surgery. There is no legitimacy. You know, the ISHRS, I hate to say it, has not found a way to really legitimize this field and this discipline, and that's why it's been just taken. And
sorry to interrupt. I need to address something that someone in the chat room just said. It'll never happen. It's a great idea, but there will never be a mandatory hair transplant training for a long time. Well, either never or for a long time. I'm not sure which. But it's already happening. It's already happening in Europe at a university where the first program, university level program, has already been given the green light, and now the program is actually being laid out. So
absolutely,
never say never, my friend. It's already happening.
You know, it reminds me. It'll never happen. Short story. I've said this before. A girl, come along new, really nice girl, into working out, decided she wants to create a low-carb protein bar. The market is so saturated with some of the hugest names out there.
What year was this?
This was 6 years ago or 8 years ago, something like that.
Fairly recent.
And started to create these concoctions and these bars in her kitchen. And started to, we bought some stuff. It was like, there's crazy packaging. It was like in baggies and shit like that. And started to pass them out to gym, Gold Gym, stuff like that, And then her husband got involved. He was a pretty successful entrepreneur at the time. Nothing huge, but, good. Made some good money, worth several $1 million. And I'm going to make a long story short. The name of that company now is Quest. And it is the biggest protein bar nutritional company that has ever existed. They're doing, $800 million a year in sales. They are in every bodega. I'm not talking about just health food stores. Every bodega, gas station. You cannot go to a store that sells anything, beef jerkies, whatever, where you don't see a Quest bar. So when people say it'll never happen or it can't be done, anything can happen, dude. Anything can be done. And I always find that to be, the people that usually type this type of stuff or write this type of stuff, or everyone was telling this girl. I mean, I remember even my in-laws were saying, there's no way. It's a fantasy. There's no way she's going to make this happen. Boom. It happened. So, There you go. 888-659-3727. There will be a standard of care. It really just depends on whether or not we choose to move forward with it. And that's my goal. I want to make that happen. And FUE Europe, the guys that are doing it, Dr. Christian Basanga, and some others are really making the thing happen with, what's the name of the hospital?
Oh, God. You had to ask me.
Well, we'll look it up.
I don't remember. But
anyway, a true training program.
It's a university hospital.
Right, and a true fellowship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things will happen. Let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's just from Florida calling. How's it going, guys?
What's happening, man?
Hey, buddy.
How you guys doing this evening?
We're doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm always great, man. I can't complain. I can't complain at all.
Good.
Good to hear.
So
Good to hear.
what's up?
Man, you know what? I seen an old friend from high school. He seen me. He's like, "You're bald?" I'm like, "Yeah." This was the first thing he says to me. He's a black dude, of course. You know, the black dude check out the hairline. I was like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time." "Oh, dude, you're bald?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, what's the big fucking deal?
So nice. People are so nice.
Good times. Good times.
So what'd you say to him besides that? What's the big deal? I mean, how's his hair?
He's still got the waves going on. I try to do that in high school.
How old is he? How old are you guys?
Waves. I'm 26.
26, yeah. So I mean, you're still at that age where there's a lot of guys who still have a full head of hair, who went to high school with.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but I knew.
Time is ticking though for this dude, man. Time is ticking. Time is not on his side.
I knew it too. But sometimes I forget I'm bald too, because I've been saved about a year now. So it's like,
dude, you got the worst cell service, dude.
I was going to say, it's like, here we go again, man. Did you send him that phone yet?
I love when you call in, but we could barely hear you half the time.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying before, I said sometimes I forget I'm bald, because I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, man, I shaved my head, man, I was receding a little bit. Hey, I had to shave that shit, man. I didn't want to look like no damn George Jefferson out here. You feel me? He's like, yeah, I got you, because my hairline was receded in high school, and I said, my uncles told me in high school, they said, you're going to be bald one day. I said, yeah, whatever, but they were right.
Yeah, but
I was told the same thing in high school. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, but again, you know, you're shaving your head, you're living your life, and how's it affected you really? It doesn't sound like it really has. I mean, you talk about it, you listen to the Bald Truth, you've explained to us a cultural aspect that of the African American culture I had no idea about, that black dudes are, like, in general, really hard on people's hair, on other guys' hairlines.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
And it's not talked about a lot either. It's not, but trust me, you go in any forum about LeBron James or anything to do with his hair, they already got forums about it. And I think plus.
Oh yeah.
And plus, I think when the reason it hasn't been an issue with me, because I was like, even when I had hair, I still had other issues before. I still wasn't confident. So I don't know if I did get hair, I wouldn't. Even before, I still wouldn't change anything, because it's like I'm way more confident now with myself. Older I get now than way before I was when I had hair, because I was self-conscious. Even with hair, I was terrible with women. But it's like, for me, it's like I was like, all right, I'm losing my hair. I got to work on other aspects of myself, because I was like, if I get hair, that don't do anything for me. It's like me finishing school, getting a better job, meet people. That's what matters more in life, because life is short. It's like, I'm not going to sweat over hair. I'm like, if a woman don't like a guy without hair, then, oh, well, good luck finding a guy that has their priorities in life straight in the 20s, that's for sure.
When you get to 26, what women, I mean, and listen, there is obviously a certain basic attraction level. You know, they have to be attracted to you. But a lot of people, when a woman gets to 26, 27, 28, they're attracted to a really good job. They're attracted to a really good, a cool car. They're attracted to a guy who has accomplish things in life. That's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to guys who could sell their one of their websites for almost $2 million if they choose to. That's what they're attracted to. Anyway, just
you've got me thinking about sound bites now, and so at the end of I was raising my hand so that you'd pause.
Yeah.
And you jumped like that was a great sound bite.
What's the sound bite?
Where he's talking about how he realized that hair doesn't matter, that he's comfortable with himself now, even though he's bald. That was awesome.
So I'd say that's probably about around exactly the 1 hour mark.
Okay, remember that one. Let's cut it out. That's great.
I haven't done any new production of the show since fucking 1998. But anyway,
since the Civil War,
since the Civil War. I mean, I have all this old production, man, just sitting here in this 360, and it's just really great stuff, and some stuff that we can't use now that we're on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly, because we get hit with the copyright stuff.
Which is unfortunate.
But so how'd that conversation end? I mean, he was saying you're bald, and you're like, yeah. And he's like, that sucks. You're like, yeah. So where did it go from there?
Let's talk about high school stuff, and he's like, yeah, man. He told me before. He's like, yeah, man. He said your hairline was receding in high school. I said, yeah, I know. Looking back on pictures now, I said I see it now, but back then I didn't see it. He's like, yeah, man, your hairline was crawling away from you. It made me like, it was funny the way he said it.
It's so brazen. It's like the brothers just don't give a shit. It's like, man, your hairline's jacked.
They don't.
I'm sorry you got to go through that, but at the same time, you're comfortable with where you are, and that's what matters. So you came through on the other side in one piece.
It is, man, because it was tough at first. You know, it was like, especially you're like, oh man, I got to shave my head. I'm in my 20s. What are women gonna think? And then a month of like feeling like crap. I'm like, have other issues. I'm like, all right, is hair really gonna affect? I'm not gonna let not having hair affect my life because I still gotta go to school, still gotta work, provide for a family.
Well,
and I'm like,
and listen,
one way or another, it's like,
I'm not going to say it's easier, but I would say that it's definitely something. And I don't know how good you look with your head shaved, but just assuming that you have dark skin makes it that much easier right off the bat. Just right off the bat. So, I mean, I can't speak for you because you're living in your own skin. But I'm saying as far as what I've seen in the world, it seems to be a much better fit for black guys than it is for most white guys. But it depends on the black guy also. You get some guy with some fucked up forehead, you know, and some really like a pointy head. Listen, I gotta say, LL Cool J, he's cool at all, and he looks good, but he wears a lot of caps for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
And he was on a show without his caps, and I was thinking to myself, you put that cap back on.
Well, no, I mean, just that's the thing. He wears a lot of caps for a reason. He's got that whole, you know, steeple thing happening on top of his head. What are you going to do? That's the way that it is, you know. But he still pulls it off. Even when he's in the movies, he has it completely shit. You know, he's not wearing a cap. He still looks cool. He's still LL Cool J.
He is. That's true.
So, all right, man. Listen, always appreciate the call. Someday we're going to get you. I mean, I don't know if Joe has to buy you a house. I don't know. We have to get you in another cell area.
Oh, you saw Skype. I use my Skype.
Are you using Skype now?
I can use my Skype.
You should try to call. Try to call Skype to phone, or can you do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, that's the way you should try.
Is it because you're like, are you using Wi-Fi in your house, or like is your cell signal just that bad?
Yeah, it's a cell signal down here where I live. It's just terrible.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. You should definitely do. Or you could probably do WhatsApp to a phone line.
There you go.
Yeah, try WhatsApp. You have WhatsApp?
All right. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Call back next time with WhatsApp.
All right.
All right, dude.
Guys.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
buddy.
New Year. Hope to hear from you before. Call so we can actually hear your voice a little better.
Definitely will. Take it easy.
All right.
Guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Maury from Florida.
Hey, Maury, what's happening, man?
Hey, Maury.
Not much, man. How you guys doing?
We're pretty good, pretty good. What's going on?
Yep. Can't complain.
Not much, man. I'm back from New York, and I'm actually in Sarasota. I paid another visit to Dr. Greco, and I had the PRP done on my Achilles tendon and on my head.
Oh, wow. So how'd that go?
Okay. It went really quickly, which is surprising. He did my head first. That was kind of a weird sensation, man. Numbed the top of my head and just went at it with the needles. It was
I got it. Let me interrupt you, Maury. I got to ask: Are you sure he did the right PRP in the right area? Because I don't want your ankle to start growing hair and your head to start growing new tendons.
You know what? No? I'll find out soon enough.
Okay, just making sure.
Find out soon enough. Yeah.
Keep sending me the photo updates.
Exactly.
I gotta document that shit.
So yeah, I'll take pictures of my ankle for you.
Hairy ankles.
So, yeah,
it was like Aunt Bertha.
Yeah, really, man. Cankles, basically, is what we're talking about here. So, so it was weird, man. It's like he went at it with the roller thing first. Well, first they numbed my head, and then they went at it with the roller thing, and that was not a pleasant sensation. Let me tell you. He actually is kind of cool. He uses this like vibrating thing on your head so that you don't feel the needle going in. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
and then
common thing to distract you.
See, yeah, it worked really well. Well, it did. The only thing that felt strange was when the PRP was going in, because it's like the skin is really tight up there, so you can feel like the needle pressing against your skull itself, like pushing through the muscles. You can almost hear it in your ears. So it was kind of
sounds like popcorn
feeling. Yeah, exactly. It was it was very strange. But he got it done really quickly. Same thing goes with the ankle. And after that, I decided to stay the night out here because I just didn't feel right about driving. The anesthesia made my face feel weird, and I was afraid that the ankle would bother me while I was driving, so I figured I'd just stay the night, which is what I'm doing.
So how do you like Sarasota?
It's beautiful. Unfortunately, the weather today is... Go ahead.
Yeah, I love the Gulf Coast of Florida. I love that area. I like even Tampa. As far as like the beaches, and you have to have a place that's on the beach or close to the beach if you can live there. It is relatively inexpensive. It could be boring as shit. You have to kind of figure out what you're going to do, and how you want to live your life.
This is true.
But white sands, just a lot of sunshine, and it's a really nice place.
Yep, I agree.
It is. It's not as population dense as the East Coast, which is just insanely dense, and people are just whatever.
Yeah.
But I went to New York last week. It's probably why you didn't hear from me.
We weren't on the air last week.
That's right. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So, I saw family. I went in for the job interview in New York. I decided against it. So I'm going to stick it out here in Florida for a bit longer, certainly at least until the spring.
So what happened? What was the situation?
We'll see how things go.
What was the deal?
Well, it was one of those things. They really liked me, which was good, but I didn't particularly like them. They had their business was decent, but it wasn't really strong. And I have this gut feeling that we're entering a recession in 2019. And I don't think these guys are going to survive. And so where I am right now, my current employers they have a business proposition that will weather the storm better than this other company did. That plus there was a little bit of bait and switch on the part of the recruiter. He's like, it's a management position, and then they're like, well, it might turn into a management position, and then they're like, no 401k match, and like, no, this is not right. No, so let's go back to Florida and put the fishing rod back in the water, see what happens. Plus, I finally got a tenant for my apartment, so there's not a big expense. Hopefully, that'll start to work in my favor. So that's
good for you.
That's kind of the sum total.
Yeah. And how are the young ladies treating you?
Well, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put the fishing pole back in the water and see what I catch now that I'm back. We'll see how that goes.
For the job and for the ladies. Okay, got it.
You can catch a lot in these days.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to catch something that you don't want, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I tell you something. I have a throwback a whole
and
bunch.
you ain't talking about catch and release either, because there ain't no release if you catch it.
Well, then they catch you. That's the problem.
There's that too. Yeah. Okay.
Well, listen, man. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm sorry that the job thing didn't work out, because it seemed like, well, maybe there's a possibility. You kind of seem to want to gravitate. You're gravitating back towards New York. Just naturally. What about Sarasota? What about living out there?
Well, there's the matter of getting a job. The thing about my current employer is they do remote. So what I'm thinking is I'll stick it out through the winter and then maybe propose, hey, working remote for them out of New York. That could possibly work as well. The only problem there is basically I'm making Florida money, which I need to be making New York money if I'm going to live in New York. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll see. I'm not in a hurry now. I think the main thing was I was concerned about my mom. I'm seeing that she's okay. My sisters are keeping an eye on her, and so that kind of settled me a little bit. And I don't know, man. I gotta not be so. I gotta allow myself to experience Florida rather than just running scared, which is pretty much what I was doing. So
I actually agree with that. I mean, when you told me about the job, I was
Makes
like,
sense.
well, if you actually have a better job waiting for you, want to go to New York, then give it a shot. But let me ask you a question. So you went to see Greco. The experience, you said it was interesting. Did you talk about the show?
It's positive.
Did you say, hey?
Of course I mentioned your name, yeah. He actually told me that he had another patient that mentioned you.
Fucking guy's got to start paying me, man.
I was going to say.
Well, you don't want to talk to him about that then.
All these guys, man. All these guys. No, I'm just kidding. I like Joe, and Joe's doing it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A couple of things I did notice, which, I've never been in this. He's got all these microscopes, which I thought was kind of cool. He's got like in the one exam room, he had like 4 of them lined up, and then he had 2 more in a different room. So it looks like he still does it the old fashioned way, I guess. Although I didn't see anyone sitting at those. I asked because it didn't seem like they had enough people to man all the microscopes. And I asked where are the people who run the scopes, and they're like, they bring them in per procedure. So, he brings people in to do the scope work when he's got a procedure going on.
Yeah,
they're not on staff.
Yeah, well, and that's pretty common. He has a set.
Is it? Okay.
He has a set group of techs that may be working with another clinic as well, and these are the techs that he works with. It's not like now the new model is, and I'm not even saying the new model is so terrible, but the only thing about the new model is that these technicians are actually performing the entirety of the surgery.
Yeah.
So the old model was, and it's a very common model, that if someone didn't have surgery booked every day or is choosing not to do surgery every day, they would share technicians. And sometimes the technician would be, working with a guy down the block. Sometimes they're working with them. But the technician's role is simply to dissect grafts under a microscope, sliver, and place grafts. That's it. And it's the physician or a PA could do it as well. They're the ones who are providing you with the anesthetic, and they're the ones who are involved in the surgery.
Yeah.
I see.
So.
Well, I can tell you that the doc was right there when the anesthetic was put in on me, and I believe he was. I'm not sure if he was supervising because again, this is all going on behind me, so I couldn't see what was going on. He was right there when they were doing the injections of the PRP.
Yeah, well, he does the injections.
Mm-hmm.
He does the injections himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not like he's not there while they were doing the injections. He's actually doing the injections of the PRP. He probably gave you the anesthetic, the injection of the anesthetic, and he probably injected you with PRP, and he probably did the roller himself as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It was uncomfortable, but it was bearable. And we'll see what happens, man. The one thing is that I know, thanks to you guys, that I do have some follicles that are sprouting and growing. So there's something to start with, and we'll see what it does, man. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm more excited to see if I can start running again once this Achilles tendon is back in business. That's kind of what I'm really excited about. We'll see if that works.
Well, listen, man, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for the call. If I don't speak to you, happy holidays, and get safe.
Well, thank you. I hope you had a good Hanukkah, by the way.
It was actually not bad. It was not bad. A buddy of mine from New York, kid I grew up with, best friend, bought me a mini Nerf basketball net, and I have just been going nuts with
it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
all right. Well,
all right, man.
Well, you guys have a holiday. Joe, have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.
All right. You too, man.
You too. Good. You too. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for the update.
Take care, man. Enjoy Sarasota while you're there.
Right. I will.
Okay.
Take it easy.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't know. You want to call it a night, dude?
Let's call it a night.
Yeah. I really do.
I got stuff to do. I got hair transplant class number 17 to finish editing. Hopefully I'll have that uploaded today. If not, then tomorrow. And yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. So it was good to be back. I mean, it's, we took a week off, and I got to say, I was glad to take a week off. But I'm also glad to be back. It was nice to be back behind the mic.
Well, good, guy. I'm glad to be back as well. And guys, next time it's a live show. So let's keep those phones ringing the entire time. Otherwise, we don't do the live show. I'm going to repeat myself. It's so much easier just to put out content the way that I put out content and do podcasts, take clips. I have so much content that I need to edit down into segments.
He keeps saying that, but it's like, where is it?
Go to Facebook. Go to the IHRS. Go to the IHRS site and go to Facebook, and you'll see it. But yeah, I mean, I have thousands. I literally have thousands of hours that I got to work on. Who's going to do it for me? Are you going to do it, Joe?
I'd try, but you'd take it over as a control freak and say, no, we got to redo this.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. All right, guys.
Sorry, FSK says, Joe, what's the schedule for Christmas period and New Year? We haven't even talked about it. What day is Christmas on anyway? Is it a Tuesday?
Yeah. That means
so
New Year's
no show on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And then no show on New Year's Day.
So maybe we'll just do like Wednesday and Saturday, or Wednesday of that week, or both those weeks.
Or I think worst case scenario, it would be
Thursday, depending on the blood factor.
The normal Friday. But here's the thing. I'm actually out of town. I might be back in town on time on Friday, but on the after Christmas. So there might not be a show on the 20.
Or what I can do is I can do an old school Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth, have a fucking couple of doctors on here, let these motherfuckers Skype in with their faces if they want. But they won't. They won't.
Or you could put out some of that content.
Motherfucker. All right, guys, listen, until next time. First of all, we don't speak to you. If you don't tune in on Tuesday, have a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas and all that great stuff.
Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah.
Yeah, I got all these Christmas parties to go to and all the shit that you're going to bring your little bags and gifts and bottles. And I got to get a haircut. I got to give that guy a fucking bottle of something.
I'm just wondering the gifts that we're getting, like, because my wife, like, her people, her clients, I'll call them, it's like every day she's coming home with, like, bags full of just stuff, and it's like I'm looking at them, and we pick and choose. But I'm asking myself, how many of these are regifted to us?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How many of these were like received and then rejected and repackaged to send forward? Just like fruitcake.
Yeah. I happen to like fruitcake, but yeah, I mean, I have to tell you that I just think it's all such bullshit. And the fact that there are people out there who don't even have two nickels to rub together, and they're stressed about fucking Christmas because they get everybody gifts. Or if you live in a big building or you work in a big building, you know how many people are in this building that I have to fucking tip? That's five. That's like $5,000 right there for Christmas.
And I have to tip.
Yeah. And I don't ask. I do everything myself. I don't need help with shit.
There's some people in some countries that'll be happy to have a bite to eat.
Yes, they would be happy to have a bite to eat.
So
I'd rather give them the $5,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So everyone in your building, fuck them all.
Go fuck them. All right, guys. Until next time, we don't have to give out any more websites except for ours, which is check out hairtransplantmentor.com. That's Joe Tillman's personal website. You can find everything Joe Tillman on hairtransplantmentor.com. Also, thebaldtruth.com for archives of this broadcast and segments of interviews with doctors and just clips that we put up on thebaldtruth.com. Subscribe to thebaldtruth.com so that you can get updated in your email whenever we put something up. Also, guysfromqueens.com, that's or gfqlive.tv. Check out the Guys from Queens. They have a whole bunch of great programs, and they are the syndicator for this program. Guys, subscribe to our channel Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Go to The Bald Truth on iTunes. Subscribe. There will be a lot of content. We just put up some new content, so you'll be getting probably about 4 podcasts this week. And as we catch up, and we're going to do that, that's my goal for January, I'm going to give you an exact day when the podcast is going to drop, as they say now, in the new podcast vernacular. So that may be exciting, it may not be exciting.
When did it transition from upload to drop?
No idea. No idea.
Why?
I've just been hearing it a lot. Everyone's saying the podcast will drop Tuesday, 7 a.m., and that's what people are saying. So now I got to start doing that shit. Also, IAHRS.org for the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. If you're considering surgical hair restoration, please be careful. Realize that all members of the IAHRS are not only physicians who we believe are doing state-of-the-art work to state-of-the-art standards, they also support our message of truth in advertising, and that surgery is a last resort, which I think is even more important in my view. You're going to see some changes in the IHRS in the coming months. We have to evolve the organization because, sadly, of the way the industry is devolving. But with that evolution, there's going to be a lot more content, a lot more educational material, and a lot more collaboration with, some more mainstream web resources, let's put it that way, which is very exciting for 2019.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you gave me the tip on that one. That's big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. So it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of help and hope for the holidays. Let's put it that way. That's corny. And I think that, I guess my goal is we have to grow this program again. There was a time when I was on the radio doing The Bald Truth, every market in the country, in a very important time in the transition of this field. Did my job, everything worked out fine. Thought that I can pull back for a while, and now shit has hit the fan again. So things are more important. The education of patients is more important than ever before. So guys who are out there, if you can, I know guys are embarrassed about the hair loss show, but share information about the broadcast. Link to Joe or tweet his shit out or retweet his stuff out. If you see anything from me on Twitter, I'm at Spencer Kobren on Twitter. And Joe is where?
At Real Joe Tillman.
Yeah. Follow us, and we'll get some information out there and retweet that shit. Get it out there.
In fact, the way to overcome the embarrassment of this is to tag any of your buddies just to mess with them.
Yeah.
And don't say anything. Just tag them and don't say anything.
That's a good idea. And actually it may be very helpful to them if you do.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, fuck you. Hey, that's kind of cool. I need to check this out. Yeah.
All right, guys, listen. An American Hair Loss Association, AmericanHairLoss.org. Bald Truth Talk message forums. Check it out. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.
Real American heroes.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
More than any neon sign or exploding scoreboard ever could, your chrome dome cover says, "Hey guys, look at